It is the Matt Mosley Show, and always good to be with you guys. And we're off and running today, and got a lot to share with you. There we go. And Kevin, we're gonna go out to the combine, and I've been in touch with folks out there, and so but we've got so much coming in. And all of them right now are in the middle of all these player interviews and coach interviews. So I generally do not mind disturbing people. But like when they're in the middle of talking to all these coaches and they're waiting on Jerry, I've been there. And I was the one always having to duck out to do interviews and stuff like that. So I'm kind of being respectful about that. But since as we come on today, Brian Schottenheimer within the last hour has spoken. And so we have some of that we'll listen to. Brian Schottenheimer will react some of what he had to say. And then, Kev, we got some breaking news coming out of there. I always, at the combine, it's kind of fun we obsess over things, right? Like when Kenny Pickett, when he measured his hands, and the man had tiny hands, it was, we probably made too big of a deal of it, although he hasn't really had much of an NFL career, has he? Today, Kev, the arm length is a big story. And the great Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami apparently is not a guy you want to go to dinner with. All right, he may short arm you a little bit with that check. And then there was one other player that the arms did not quite reach out there to 31 inches. Let me tell you who's got like incredibly long arms. There's a defensive tackle at Florida, and he's got 35-inch arms. So just so we have some kind of what we're talking about there is that's on the high end. Someone that has 35-inch arms has got some dang leverage and some arms. You know, I don't think you should not take Ruben Bain Jr. because his arms aren't that long. By the way, he's not alone in this area. Cassius Howell from Texas A&M Fighting Ags, who had a great year from a pass rushing standpoint, also short arms it, 30 and a quarter inch, where Ruben Bain is 30 and I believe 7/8. All right, he's knocking on the door of 31 inches. For edge rushers, that's not good. That's not good. You want to have longer arms. Now, not all edge rushers are built the same. Bain is an incredibly powerful, big, fast man. Cassius Howell is a more angular, not as big and strong as Bain, but he bends better and probably is a little twitchier of an athlete. So I would say maybe built to overcome not having the longest of arms. Now, Kev, I mean, you and I, we're blessed to have all these great guests. And, we were recording some of them, and we've been on. Yesterday, we had, to start the show, we had DJ Lagway. Kev, we'll have more of that today. I did want to say today, I want to remind all our people at around 2:30 today, we will play. We've got a really good interview for you. Baylor's new defensive line coach. In fact, Kev, when you get a chance, send me the link to what we're doing live right now, and I'll tease our 2:30 because I do think a lot of our Baylor audience will be excited about that. The D-line coach for the Bears, and when I say D-line, he's going to focus on a lot of those interior defensive linemen, the defensive tackles, and, of course, he wants as many of those bodies as they can get up there. Wants to get 4 down, might even like to get 5 up there at a time. And Jacori Greer is an interesting guy. He's from the Metroplex. He finished up at Carrollton Newman Smith, and he started, I believe, his high school career out at SOC. Really good player. He played at University of New Mexico. The man is now in his late 30s, I believe. And he's just he's a really interesting guy to talk to. And what you'll like about this, especially you Baylor folks out there, is that we're going to kind of get into these guys they got in the portal. The kid out of Marshall, the player out of South Carolina, the player from Texas State, the player from Indiana, Jose Wheeler, Jose, Hosea. All right, kind of like we might be doing kind of a spiritual thing. Wheeler, and while Kevin is a guy that's not, thanks, Kevin. I mean, you ask and you shall receive. Kevin's one of those guys that even yesterday, man, we were talking to somebody and like everything I would mention, Kevin would just boom, boom, boom. Suddenly the stills would be up there on the camera. I love it. And so anyway, we've got a lot to share with you. In fact, Baylor women's basketball, they play TCU. ESPN Game Day is going to be there Sunday. I believe it's a 3:00 tip-off in Fort Worth. And so tomorrow, the associate head coach of the Baylor Bears, Tony Green, is going to be on with us. And, Nikki does our show anytime we need her. But, Kevin, she and Coach Campbell have a lot of TV and a lot of things they're being asked to do heading into this. So we're cool with that. One week where we get Tony on instead of Nikki. And I'm a big Tony Green fan. I really am. And of course, Kevin, I had to ask the question. I had to ask about, hey, how are you going to maybe approach Olivia Miles differently this time around? Now, interestingly, because let's not try to pussyfoot around here. It went disastrously in that last time out when they tried to use drop coverage, and Olivia Miles just said, sorry, I'm going to just sit out here, just hit a bunch of threes on you guys, and maybe y'all might want to send somebody out here to get me at some point. But it took them too long, and by the time she finished, the game was basically over. Bears were in a tight one, 36-32 at halftime. It was tight in the third quarter even, but then Miles, there she goes. And I'm telling you, Kevin, with those glasses, when she puts those kind of Buddy Holly looking goggles on, oh, the great Buddy Holly, the big bopper. Oh, Richie Valens, we miss you guys. We miss all of you guys, all right? We wish you hadn't gotten on that plane. I know that bus was awful and drafty and too cold, and you wanted to take a flight, but oh my goodness, we wish you hadn't have. Kev, it's just been good. We've been on a roll. We've had some great guests. Who knows what we'll do tomorrow? Kevin is begging off tomorrow's show. I was just sitting here, Kevin, bragging on you. There was somebody that's huge at Rogue. I was bragging on you too the other day. I'm like, I could never lose Kevin. And then next thing I know, you're taking tomorrow off. Now, I think you do have.
I am the voice of Baylor women's tennis.
Buddy, so. I appreciate how you jutted out your chest when you said that. That doesn't do me any good, okay? I'm proud of you, and you know how much I love tennis, but you being the voice of women's tennis, what does that mean to me? Has that scored me like an exclusive with Joey Scrivano? It has not.
Not yet. I could hook that up.
Has that scored me an exclusive interview with the number one player on the Baylor women's team? It has not. It has not.
So what you're saying is you have love.
For what?
You have love.
Tennis? Are we doing tennis jokes? What do you
exactly.
love? Yes. I have no love for you right now. All right. It is the Mosley Show, though. And Kevin, I think it scares people from time to time because Kevin is he's kind of got a bit of an alternative look about him. And so then you go from the Mosley sunglasses to my rocket out drummer / lead guitarist in the Mosley band. Oh, Kev. I'll tell you, speaking of bands, I'm going to go down there. I think I'm going to try to sneak down there Saturday to Waco, and there may be hoops involved, and there may be sing-spiration. All university sing at Baylor University. All right. I got a nephew who has got a couple of solos, or at least one that I know of, in the old KOT Act. All right. So I got to come down there and support the KOTs. My fraternity, which used to win it every year, Kevin, just isn't even in it this year. It's like, what are we doing down there? Y'all giving up? You guys, the Fijis, y'all just kind of giving up on life? What are we doing? So I'll probably have to come down there and make a big speech, go by the Fiji house, which doesn't exist, by the way. We don't have houses at Baylor. But I may run down there to wherever the Phi Gams are gathered and try to get these kids going again. My gosh. We won that thing 4 straight years, Kevin. Of course, none of our Cowboys crew, they're like, what is Mosley talking about? Okay, I get it. I'll get to the Cowboys stuff. Brian Schottenheimer was just speaking. We're going to play some of that. We'll react to it. Before we do that, though, Kev, some kicking controversy. I know you love this Brandon Aubrey story, and you are a man who believes kickers should be honored at all times, especially when they make a bunch of field goals in the Super Bowl, even if they're basically gimme field goals. Kevin is a big believer in the kicker. If they kick a whole bunch of
this is what
goals,
happens when my wife played soccer and my son played soccer and he's a kicker. I mean, you got to give some love to it is called football, right?
What was her highest level of soccer playing?
She played in development for the U.S. women's national
That's right.
team. Yeah. That's
right. She may have back in the day met
Liam.
Megan. Hold on. Let me finish my statement. I'm very interested in your family, but did she ever meet Rapinoe?
I don't believe
Megan Rapinoe, or who was the goalkeeper that was so famous? And
Hope Solo.
Did she ever meet Hope Solo?
No, she was a little bit before that round of ladies.
Okay, don't try to age your wife, because those ladies have been around for a little bit. Oh, she might have been that one. Who was the one that would take the shirt off?
Mia Hamm.
That's not Mia Hamm. Was she about Mia Hamm's age, though?
About that. She was on that team. She was slotted right in between there.
The shirt person was named like Carla something, or she'd take that thing off and throw it up there. Tattoo used to do that indoor soccer. All right, I used to be a connoisseur or consumer of indoor soccer back when the sidekicks were great. But, all right. Oh, what about Liam? What are you going to say?
Well, Liam then went off to play soccer, and then he in 6-man football. 6-man football, having a kicker is a rarity and a valued commodity because kicking a extra point is actually worth 2 in 6-man football because of the smaller rosters. Yeah. So he not only played running back and safety and cornerback, he also was the kicker. And
is this who's hanging out at Mary Hardin Baylor these days? Is that Liam? Okay. Yep. All right. Well, I don't know why in the world didn't go out there and try to help that coach. That's a great team out there. They win national titles. Oh, Coach Fred was a great friend of mine. He's still around, still doing his thing. He's just not what's Larry out there now coaching, I believe. But boy, Fredenberg, I loved him. Had a great run there at Mary Hardin Baylor. Okay, let's get back to the kicking controversy. Story written by my buddy Calvin Watkins, who has put out like an apology. I don't think it was really that huge of a miss. I think Calvin tried to say that the Cowboys had offered Aubrey $7.5 million, but he wants $10 million. Well, it turns out the Cowboys had actually offered less than $7 million. All right, like $6.5 million. They were going to make him the highest paid kicker ever, but Calvin had that a little bit wrong. Calvin has now put out on Twitter like a correction. Hey, I've gotten stuff wrong. They've had to write corrections for me in the past. I don't think this was the biggest thing wrong ever, but Calvin put a statement out calling this. He said, I've made a terrible mistake. It's like, I'm telling you, man, I would say all these people that were hanging out with Epstein, those were, that sounds more like a terrible mistake than missing it by a million or whatever, Aubrey. But anyway, very honorable of Calvin to say, hey, I got this wrong. And at a time where people don't always trust journalists and media, I think it's kind of honorable for somebody to come out and go, I got this wrong. All right. So there you go. So here's what I think is the real story. And Clarence, early this morning, Clarence Hill came up with this. He said that the Cowboys had made something, I think, just under around 7 million. Let me see exactly the way Clarence reported it. Clarence tweets so much, I don't know if I could ever go back and find it. But basically, they did try to make him the highest paid kicker. Todd France, who is Brandon Aubrey's agent, I've known Todd France for years, they came back at 10 million. So they're probably about 4.5 million apart. And then somebody put it out there yesterday. Oh, Nick Wright on Fox. And I reached out to Fox. I was like, what are we doing? Because I go on that show with Colin Cowherd fairly often. He said that he would give the kicker like a 10-year, $75 million deal. First of all, kickers can go wrong. It's like they can lose their touch at any given moment. I've seen it happen to golfers. I've definitely seen it happen to kickers. You don't give a kicker a 10-year contract. If you want to give this guy a 3 or 4 year contract and you want to pay him, I would say 32 million, and so you give him $8 million a year, I'm all for it. 10 years, 75 million is just dumb. Now, I guess the thought would be spread it out over the years and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. The guy's already 31 years old. You're trying to have him under contract till he's 41. And I know it's really about the guaranteed money, but don't be. You really don't know what you're talking about if you're going to put it out there that you want to do a 10-year deal with a daggum kicker. Give me a break, okay? This is the best kicker in football. Pay him like it, so give him 7 or 8 million a year for 3 or 4 years and move on about your business and stop talking about it. And by the way, the guy that came up with the 10 years, 75 also said it's easier to find people like George Wright than it is to find Brandon Aubrey. So he was basically saying he would prefer using the franchise tag or whatever and trying to keep Aubrey over trying to keep Pickens. Have we lost our ever-loving minds?
I tried to tell you that yesterday.
Oh, no. I was about to say even Mr. Kicker Lover thinks that's the dumbest thing he's ever heard.
I just said Kevin, it would create a conundrum.
No, there's no conundrum. I love having a great kicker. He's a weapon, but you would always take the front line, unbelievable wide receiver, every down player over a specialist. Goodness. Oh, Kevin, how have you decided to make me this angry this early in the show? I cannot believe you agree with Kevin or with whoever this is, Nick Wright. All right, Kev, let's Kevin, that thing I sent you that Will McClay said earlier today. He's the Cowboys director of scouting. I look for things that I find that'll be like, whoa, that's interesting. That's interesting. And he introduced, and I think he might have gotten this from Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator, but he's introduced a new phrase to us in scouting. When you look at this player, what do you see? Kevin, I find this to be now. This whole thing is interesting because he talks about traits you can get too in love with certain traits, and that is long arms, big hands, this or that, like we're doing when I started the show today. But Kevin, he gets into this new little thing that I'm not familiar with, which coaches and scouts look for in players, and it has to do with the brain. Kevin, can we hear that little vignette from Will McClay, the Cowboys director of scouting?
Yeah. Because you have to understand how the traits are used.
Right.
Traits are nothing if you don't know what to do with them. So that's all. That's a big part of it. And I learned a new phrase that has stuck with me through CP and the defensive group, and they say their brain works. Okay, it's a very simple term, but when you watch it, you say, oh, this guy's brain works. And you can see the movement, you can see the different things. And so it comes in different shapes and sizes. But if their brain works and they can manipulate and understand the 53 and 100 in situational, you have a chance. And that's very hard because there's a lot of players that have traits, that are these guys that have to fit into something. And so you have to learn it. You have to become an expert at it. Then it has to become natural for those traits to show up.
So a quarterback hand size, does that matter?
It does, because you're throwing an object, and at different points in time, you got to grip it. It's raining, whatever, and it does. Just physically, that's how you generate force and everything else. Yeah.
So, when you talk about their brain works, obviously you guys are still going through this process, so I wouldn't ask you about that. But just if you think back over guys you've scouted in previous years, like, how does that apply? Who's a guy that stands out to you? Like, all right, that's somebody who I remember watching him and thinking his brain works.
Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis.
When we drafted him, it's like you look for the traits. You don't want ideally, you want the biggest, fastest, longest guy, all right? So now you have parameters, and if somebody falls below those parameters, they better walk on water with the traits that they do have. And so in order for them to do that, 9 times out of 10, their brain has to work to make up for not being 6'1", 6'2". And so I have to get there faster. I have to anticipate, and those guys tend to do it.
Ooh, Kev, that's the good stuff, man. That's when you kind of, the brain works.
And during that whole time, I just can't keep myself from thinking about this guy as a Colts fan.
And you're telling me, is that Anthony Richardson on my screen?
Mm-hmm.
And the news that and so you're thinking about, and I'll give the news here in a second to our people and kind of why he's on our brain today. But when he's talking about traits, but then also starts talking about brain works, do you think that both those things apply to Anthony Richardson? You just don't think?
I think that the traits are the traits, and they were fabulous. They are fabulous, but something tells me that there's something that doesn't quite click and connect.
Yeah. You know who I thought of, Kevin, and you'll love this too, and you don't have I don't think you have a graphic ready for him, but I thought of your little 5'9" Indiana cornerback. Like,
okay.
Like when he's talking about Jordan Lewis, what's that? What's his name?
D'Angelo Ponce.
D'Angelo Ponce, yeah. Like there's a 5'9" dude, and if he's not going to have the length and the size that they're kind of wanting, which is cornerbacks that are 6 foot or 6'1", you better bring it in these other areas. You better have like unbelievable instincts, and you better have that brain works where you, because of the way you diagnose things, get there even quicker. That's him, man. That's D'Angelo Ponce. That's a kid. And again, I get it. It's like some people love the kid and probably but don't want their teams to take him because they're like, I love him, but he's 5'8" or he's 5'9". Like that's, oh man, that's on the small side. Well, all I saw is they show up to play in the playoff game against Oregon for the second time of the season, and Pons is running into the end zone within about a minute of that game starting. Okay, that's pretty good trait to me. You talk about great, traits and all those kinds of things. But I love that kind of scouting. Will's a longtime friend of mine, and we'll get him on. We'll get him on sometime. But we have him on our podcast a lot, the Doomsday podcast. I don't like that shot right there. I like to get it right over there. This camera moves too much. I'm sure I could train it to not move as much, but Lord, that would require me to actually know something about this laptop. So Kev, but now back to Kevin's there was some breaking news. Kevin hit our breaking news sounder from earlier today. And it involved Anthony Richardson. Still would like to maybe tweak that. But this is the former top 5 pick for the Colts. And there were moments early in his career, it's like, we got a good one. Same thing like the Texans, Stroud, some of those early moments. We got our guy. This is awesome. Now, the reason you don't like giving up on people is because, like the Bears got the right coach finally, and Ben Johnson has unlocked Caleb Williams. Do I think Anthony Richards is as good as Caleb Williams? I do not. I would just say I also would not give up on, like Sam Darnold, people had given up on, and he was on his third or fourth team, and he wins the Super Bowl, and he was a huge reason Seattle won a Super Bowl. So you hesitate to ever truly give up on a guy, and these quarterbacks people are so desperate that even a guy like Malik Willis, who I still don't even think is that great, somebody's going to step up and go, tell you what, Malik, how does like 30 million sound? 30 million next year. Does that sound okay? Malik's going to say, yeah, sounds pretty good. Love to come help you out. All right, and that's how it works. And that's how Atlanta or whoever's out there, or Cleveland, or whoever desperately needs a quarterback, that's what they do. They go, here's one. And this guy was a great college quarterback. And for whatever reason, he seemed to get his career going while playing for the Green Bay Packers. Be careful there. A lot of those Packers backup quarterbacks over the years, people have thought, oh my gosh, we could do this now. Sometimes it works. That one Packers backup many, many years ago became the starter for the Saints. And briefly, he was a pretty dang good quarterback. And I'm talking about, I'm having to go back too far. My brain hurts. Aaron somebody. He was a backup quarterback to Favre probably, which a lot of guys were. And then, of course, Hasselbeck was too back in the day. And then he goes and becomes a really good quarterback for Seattle. I just can't think of that. Aaron Miles. Who am I thinking of? Anyway, he ended up playing for the Saints. He was pretty good. So interesting story there. And so the story is that Anthony Richardson, and this is, as Kevin says, Kevin hates the GM there, this Chris Ballard, but apparently, recently, as recent as a few days ago, Ballard suggested they hadn't given up on Anthony Richardson. And now it would the story is out there that the Colts have given the quarterback and his people the ability to go shop and look for a trade. And so the Colts are now listening to trades for
2 days ago.
Richardson. Yeah, 2 days ago.
2 days ago, Ballard sat at the podium and said, oh yeah, I believe that that Anthony Richardson still has a future here in Indianapolis.
Who is on that roster? So you still have Daniel Jones.
Nope. He's free agent. So he's technically not even.
Well, but that hadn't started yet. Free agency hadn't started yet. So technically you have Daniel Jones and who else?
Riley Leonard. Who
has he
put up the most amount of points in a half against the Houston Texans all season. in the last game of the season. And that was when they were still playing their starters in the first half. He put up 17 points in one half against that defense.
Yeah, I would just get Phillip back and try him again.
Well, Carson Wentz, Gardner Minshew, there are a couple others that the Colts could go back to the well on.
No.
Although there is Kirk Cousins, who you could pay a vet minimum to and pick up as a go-to.
Sir, Kirk Cousins is not going to play anywhere. He will not get off the couch for the vet minimum. So keep dreaming on that.
No. But because the Falcons are still going to be paying him. I'm saying you could do a Russell Wilson to the Steelers kind of thing, where another team is going to basically pick up the tab, and you could pick him up for the minimum.
They're not going to keep paying him. What happens is they take a huge cap hit, and so he'll get all his guaranteed money that he's owed by them. But when he leaves, it's not like coaches. Coaches sometimes leave, and the other team's still paying him.
Yeah,
he will not, wherever his next place is, they'll not be contributing, but he'll certainly get paid out before.
Right.
Okay. What time? Oh man, what a strong. We haven't even gotten to our shoddy stuff, for goodness sakes. And we got the big Baylor defensive line coach that people are going to love later today. In fact, we'll probably need to. Golly, that's going to be good because, man, he talked about a lot of those players and a lot what Clanderman and all the stuff. But that's going to be good. A reminder, by the way, I'm trying to think how long that interview is. I think just plan on that interview. Plan on about 2:30 for that Baylor defensive line coach to start today. I bet maybe 2:30, 2:35. We'll start that. That's how we'll end the show today, with our interview with Baylor defensive line coach Jacori Greer. Good stuff, man. And he just goes through these portal folks. So that's really stuff you're going to enjoy. And then at 2:00 today, in the 2:00 hour leading up to that, we'll let you hear from some of what Brian Schottenheimer had to say earlier today. So I didn't quite give you as much Cowboy stuff as I'd promised. I'm sorry, Kevin. That is the first time I've ever done that. It's the first time I've ever told you that we're going to talk about one thing and then we talk about a bunch of other stuff. Okay,
it's my fault. I talked about the kicker and AR, so there you go. You blame it on me, put me in the penalty box.
That is great, Kevin. You're learning, man, how to really become close to me is just take the blame for all my mistakes. I really enjoy that. You're like a good. That's a very good trait, as we were just hearing from Will McClay. All right, Kev, let's do some Campus Confidential. This is where Kevin Hall gets heavily involved, and he'll bounce some things off of me, and we'll hit several major college football, basketball. The thing I love about Kevin is he will dig in on some college basketball. And Kevin, there's one shocking college basketball note that I promise you weren't going to bring up, but it's a Big East team that for the first time in generations has come out of hiding, has come out of hibernation. And I'm going to give them an attaboy today. I'm just going to pat him on the head, and I'm just going to go, good job, little guy. And so that'll happen in Campus Confidential, which is next.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be from a company, don't give them your personal information, ever. Unless you know them personally, hang up and call the company back on a verified number.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank. Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit VivoSun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is the Mosley Show, and with Kevin Hall, heavily featured already today. Anytime we have some breaking news involving the Indianapolis Colts, Kevin is Johnny on the spot. It does look like the Colts will be shopping Anthony Richardson. I can't think that there's like a huge market for him. And I don't, again, the financial implications of just having to cut him, don't know exactly what that is. I would say Anthony Richardson, fortunately for the Colts, they've not done any sort of huge deal with him or anything like that. I would think that this is the kind of player, by the way, that the Cowboys yearn and just love at the backup quarterback. They would love to have a shot, and they would be totally up for sending a 6th or 7th round pick over to the Colts for someone of this ilk. They did it with Trey Lance, and they love the project player. And this year they had another guy who's known for having a big arm and very athletic, but certainly not a guy who seems to be a starter in the NFL. Yes.
I wanted the Colts to draft Joe Milton even after they drafted AR because they had such issues with like stylistic differences between Minshew and Flacco and AR. I was like, Milton is the same thing. You don't have to change anything. Now,
neither guy can play, by the way, Anthony Richardson or Joe Milton. So I don't think really you missed out on anything.
I believe that if I had to bet, I would say that Richardson ends up with the Vikings because of this interaction right here.
Do me a favor, remember something.
Okay.
You're a bad dude.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to play a long time in this league.
For sure.
All right? Go to work every day. Good things will happen for you. I still believe in you. I know these guys too. Shane does too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this organization loves you. Go to
yes,
work.
Sir. Appreciate
okay?
that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, always. All love.
Appreciate
man.
it.
Nice.
Kevin O'Connell, I think, could work wonders. Not to mention you're throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and 2 former Colts O-line members, Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, are now with the Vikings as well.
Yeah, that's all you need with a team that already is very, J.J. McCarthy. Nobody really totally knows where they stand on him. And so bring in another guy that was taken early in the draft and just make everybody uncomfortable. I'm fine with that. Yeah. I think what he'll probably end up is like Cleveland, just to make that situation even more awkward. All right. They love just stacking quarterbacks who can't play. What do you have for me in what we like to call, commonly referred to as Campus Confidential, which we do at 1:30 every day? Often, though, at 1:44.
Right. How about UConn? Basketball.
Yeah.
Getting it done. Okay, so obviously they held St. John's to only 40 points in an entire college basketball game. But do you think this says more about UConn, or does this say more about St. John's?
St. John's. I mean, it's a good UConn team, and it's a UConn team that certainly could make it to the Final Four. I don't think they will, but they could. This is a real embarrassing moment for Pitino. I was joking yesterday. He was tweeting out about everybody being on their phones at breakfast and people not talking to each other. And they went out there and they gave him an extremely poor performance. I think I made the mistake of saying that I thought St. John's would cover. I thought they would cover. I did not think they would win. I picked UConn to win the game. I did not pick UConn to win the game by 32 points. I think when you score 40 points in a college basketball game, I mean, that to me is just, it's a huge embarrassment. And I'd have to look and see, did somebody not play? Did somebody get in foul trouble? Like, what were the reasons for that? Because I was thinking, God, I didn't watch that game. I never sat down to watch any of it. And then once you see the score, you're like, I don't want any part of that. The game I did kind of tune in for last night was a game you had asked me to pick. And that was the Aggies in Fayetteville.
Yeah,
A&M,
that didn't work out well.
They fought back and made it interesting and got to within like 5 to 6 points. That Clements kid for A&M, I'm loving him, man. A&M has some very interesting pieces, but Acuff was too much.
Yep.
And Brazil made some plays late. That's a good team. That's a good Arkansas team, but Acuff is a special player. And then another kid that the ESPN just did a huge thing on him from, where does Wagler play?
Illinois.
That's a special guy.
Yep.
Wagler, however, I forget exactly how you say it. Yeah. That's a special player. And the thing that fascinates me about him, as a country, the way we cover college basketball, and Kevin, you and I probably pay more attention than most. Maybe that's why we have a show. But I feel like this is one of the more fascinating stories in the country, because the way we talk about players like Kingston Flemings and others, and DeBonsa and Darren Peterson, is these guys we all knew about and were huge, like top 20 McDonald's All-American types.
Right. College basketball is just a pathway to the NBA for them.
Yeah.
We knew that from the get-go.
Yeah. This guy was not in the top 100. And it's extremely rare for one of these American-born. Now, occasionally you'll get a guy like Jeremy Sohan, who was not, but Jeremy Sohan grew up playing overseas. All right, he came from Finland or wherever was it Finland? He's a Polish kid, but anyway, he I think he was playing over in Finland. But the bottom line is, this is an American-born player who, for whatever reason, wasn't part of the huge, structure that is top 50,
right,
and even maybe top 100. So it's extremely rare to have a player go like in the first round of the draft who was not a top 100 American-born NBA player.
Yeah.
And this kid fits that deal. So I haven't read the story yet, Kevin, but I think you and I should, because it's the whole Wagler. I've called this kid eight different things. Is that right?
Wagler, yes.
Wagler.
Yeah. I trust me, I had to hear it a lot when Indiana played Illinois.
Yeah, your Hoosiers have just checked out. It's just unfortunate. Yeah.
I told you.
But that guy's his first year. You've got to take it easy with that guy.
Archie Miller had 1 year coming from a mid-major. You don't get much more at Indiana. It's tournament or bust.
You gave that Woodson like 5 years or 6 years.
Yes, but he had more experience and more Indiana connections coming into it.
Archie Miller was the dumbest hire ever. Like I was like, if you're going to hire a Miller brother, hire Sean. You don't be out there hiring Archie. Hey, we like what Archie's doing at Dayton. What? Now some of these guys come from weird places though, and are great coaches. Like I think Oates is a bit of a slime ball. He's got some good slime factor going for him. But the guy was at Buffalo, and he's been a great coach at Alabama. Okay. Todd Golden was coaching at where was he? Wherever Todd Golden was, and that sucker has been awesome at Florida. Unbelievable, defending national champs. And there's nothing about where he was that I would have said, it's very interesting, because I think the hit rate on getting guys from mid-majors is about 40 to 50%. But when you hit, man, you hit. Like I like that guy at Louisville. I like Kelsey. I think Louisville hit on a pretty good coach there. When you hit, you hit. But like one year, somebody tried to go hire the guy from Darren Horn. He'd had a good run in the NCAA tournament. Darren Horn can't coach. Half these guys end up back on the ESPN halftime set. All right. And then somebody will go, what about that young guy that was coaching at Memphis and then Georgia Tech? What about that Josh Pastner? Let's go hire him. It's like, well, no, I mean, there's a reason he keeps ending up back on the ESPN set. He can't coach. Jeez. Many years ago, the one time Baylor truly could have lost Scott, one was Kentucky a couple of years ago. The one before that where he would have taken the job, I think, was early in his time at Baylor, and Memphis was replacing John Calipari, and he was headed to Kentucky. And Memphis was looking at a young Scott Drew. And they ended up hiring Josh Pastner instead. Pastner had been maybe on Calipari's staff. I just can't remember exactly what Pastner was doing at the time. But anyway, they hired Pastner over Scott Drew, and the rest is history. Scott goes on to win a national title. Pastner ends up in an ESPN studio every time he gets fired. All right, Kev, what else do you have for me? What were you doing? Where did you go? Were you looking up Todd Golden? Where did Todd Golden go?
Well, in my podcast, one of my TikToks had gotten kind of a lot of traffic, and because I was hating on Darren DeVries, and so somebody brought up a mid-major coach, but I couldn't find it. That they called was good. But all your talk about Scott Drew and makes me kind of wonder if he might consider coming back to Indiana. But regardless, what Miami of Ohio is doing is historic.
They had their chance, and they hired Woodson. I mean, they've already blown their chance on Scott Drew.
Well, Scott Drew's maybe not having a great season, but maybe he needs to revitalize by going somewhere else. Maybe your future interviews with Scott Drew, you want to do kind of underground without me. I'll do some recruiting. What Miami, Ohio is doing though is historic in basketball, but it's being questioned and not credited because of their level of competition. But are they on the verge of a Gonzaga, Creighton, or St. Louis kind of breakthrough if they go on an undefeated run and deeply into the tournament?
Who is this?
Miami of Ohio, still undefeated at 21 in the country.
Yeah, and I hate that because somebody will go hire their coach and all that.
Because this is how Gonzaga got its kind of big break in the 90s, right? They were in a conference and then all of a sudden they just kept doing their thing, getting in the tournament, going deep, and getting validity while still remaining in a largely conference.
Yeah, boy, don't get me thinking about all those old players because, and by the way, even before all that started, don't forget that John Stockton played at Gonzaga as well. So they did have a little bit of history before they got great. But to your point, that's a good trivia question, by the way. And we need to do our Schmaltz's trivia question. I'll think of a different one, but Kev, can you name the coach at Gonzaga who got Gonzaga going before Mark Few took over? Mark Few obviously is who will always be remembered and is a no doubter, Hall of Fame guy.
Right.
But do you know who got who got Gonzaga going?
Yeah, I don't.
I believe his name is Dan Monson. And back in the day, and I forget where he went, to Minnesota or wherever, but he was the guy who got that thing rolling in the early days, and then Few took over, and then Few took it to great heights. And where I remember them truly taking off was the tournament when they had Morrison. What was that guy's name? Adam Morrison.
Yep.
And he was crying after the game and all.
Terrible mustache.
Great player. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it was terrible. I thought he had I remember the morning news. I got in trouble because they thought I'd crossed the line. I was doing kind of a humor type thing, and it was called Couch Potato. And so I made comments about all the broadcasts throughout the first couple of rounds of the tournament, and I said that something about Morrison's porn star mustache.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the people at the morning news did not.
They didn't like that, huh?
They did not care for that. All right, what else do you have, sir?
All right, I got one more for you. There is a game tonight. The lone good game. I don't think there's anything really else on. Michigan State at Purdue. I'm going to bring you into the Big Ten world. Number 13 at number 8. Spartans in Mackey. Izzo. Painter. Purdue is picked by 7.5. Only 2 years did Izzo miss coaching Michigan State against Painter when he played for Purdue back in the day. Painter left 2 years before Izzo started. So there's a lot of stuff here in this game late in the season. What do you think?
I got to be careful because, you're liable to get beat by 40 or something, kind of like what happened to poor St. John's last time. St. John's got a great record. I swear they only have 2 or 3 losses in conference. That was really out of nowhere. I will take Izzo to cover, but I will take Purdue to win this game. And that's another one I'm very interested to find out, like if I had to pick outside of Fog Allen Fieldhouse, and I would think that Mackey Center would be pretty cool to go see. Have you been there?
I've been. So I think I've mentioned my parents both
went to Purdue.
Went to Purdue. Grew up in Lafayette. I grew up going. My mom got her doctorate from Purdue, and so we went to all kinds.
Why were you not a Purdue fan?
Well, I was a Purdue fan, and then I graduated from Indiana, got my degree from there. So I turned my back. But
Wow.
I was in that building in the Glenn Robinson days, and I saw Glenn Robinson
Big dog.
I saw the Glenn Robinson do the splits and do a dunk over a guy, and the metal roof that is in that place. I've been to basketball camps at Mackey. The metal roof in that place is just unreal. It doesn't matter where you are in that building. It is loud. It is loud, and it gets even louder closer.
Gene Katie ever come by those camps?
Well, Matt Painter was actually a student counselor at one of the camps I went to. Yeah,
I would say that it's like Painter is the most one of the most accomplished coaches to not win it all, but I would put him behind. I would say that the most accomplished two coaches in college basketball that have not won a national title, I put Mark Few number one as the best coach without a national title. I would put Kelvin Sampson number two, and then I might be tempted to put Painter. Number three. I'm trying to think if there's any others that are. Sean Miller's had a great career. He really has, and he just hadn't been able to win the big one. I don't know that Sean Miller, did he ever take a team to the Final Four? I think he's had 2 or 3 Elite Eights. I do not know that if Sean Miller's ever taken a team to the Final Four. I'm trying to think back. Sean, yeah, interesting. But all right, Kev, that's good stuff.
He has
not.
not.
Yeah. I don't think so. I didn't think so. Certainly had some good times at Arizona, and then. Where did he go when he got fired at Arizona? Did he go back to Xavier? Yeah, that's where he was. He was at Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would like to get into some of this, what's happening at the Combine. Brian Schottenheimer is talking. And then, of course, Kev, if we have time, I do want to, we had a couple of really interesting things from DJ Lagway's interview that I'd like to share with our audience and react to. We'll do all of that next.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level. while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGoAAALusa.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
It is Mosley Show, and lots to get to, and I want to remind everybody that Jacori Greer, Baylor's new D-line coach, and in fact, he'll have a lot to share with us on some of these new defensive tackles that Baylor has gotten from, South Carolina, big-time D-lineman, one from Marshall, one from Texas State, and one from Kevin's beloved Indiana Hoosiers. Still kind of waiting to make sure that youngster is eligible, but the Bears are proceeding as if he is, and I think you'll enjoy hearing from Coach Greer. That will happen right around 2:30. All right, I'll break right around then, and then Kevin we'll get rolling with that. And then we've had some interesting guests lately. We had Baylor, the new quarterback, DJ Lagway, yesterday, and found out some interesting things about him, like what NFL quarterback that he most likes, and he likes playing he likes to watch the most and tries to emulate. And then also, I thought it was subtle. You had to be listening for it, but really kind of had an interesting thought on how Baylor's different than Florida, and kind of seemed to think, Kev, that Florida, everybody was just it was like herding cattle through there, where at Baylor, it's more about the individual. I like hearing it. And I thought, honestly, it was one of the, Kevin, you know me, in the middle of an interview, I'm just trying to hang in there and get us the best stuff we can and get to know the kid. And then what was kind of cool was yesterday when our buddy Brandon started putting together those little shorts and stuff. I'm like, oh man, look at this. This was interesting. There's just stuff that you sometimes it doesn't catch your ear as much when you're live with somebody like we were with DJ Lagway. And Kev, I was live with him for a good long time. I think Baylor was kind of like, Mosley, let's move this along. I kept him for only about 33 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Well, when you're late to the party, you get to stay a little bit later too then. Right?
I thought so. And we're usually not late. We're usually the first people that have any kind of major Baylor, like Doug McNamee, the AD, Joe Klanderman, the new defensive coordinator. We're the first show that most Baylor people think of to put their person on with us. And we were a little late to the DJ Lagway party. The good news is Kevin, his dad, enjoyed the interview and was retweeting us like crazy and was texting me last night. So anyway, that's good. We're the show, the Lagway's father, Derek. Why? Because you know what, Kev? I was sitting up there in those stands, and I guess I had just graduated from Baylor when a young Derek Lagway was playing for the Bears. All right, the DJ's dad. So when we have people on, it's not just like, hey, we're Johnny come latelys. No, I was there for all of this. And that is one of the reasons we remain the authority on Baylor athletics. Are we on the authority? On some things, all right? I don't want to be too strong with it. But there are certain things we can talk about with great authority. All right, Kev. I enjoyed hearing, though, from Brian Schottenheimer earlier today. He was at the combine, the NFL combine in Indianapolis, where Kevin used to live. And let's hear, this is Brian Schottenheimer talking about the Eagles trying to call. They wanted Clayton Adams, the Cowboys run game coordinator and offensive coordinator. They wanted Clayton Adams to come there and call plays for the old Philadelphia Eagles, probably thinking, you got our guy, Christian Parker as your defensive coordinator. We'll take your guy. He doesn't even call plays for you. Kevin, what did Brian Schottenheimer have to say about that?
I love Clayton. It was funny because when Nick called me, there's different ways you can do it. You can send in slips and things like that. And Nick, of course, called me and said, hey, I got a question to ask you. I want to send a letter in for Clayton. I said, don't bother, buddy. I'm going to have to deny you on that one. He said, I'm not calling the plays. I said, I'm going to have to deny it. So then we started talking about our kids. He's like, yeah, I would have done the same thing, but I had to ask. So, look, Clayton's a stud. His energy is amazing. And, again, Nick wasn't wrong for trying.
Nick Sirianni is who he's talking about. Kev, pretty fresh haircut for Shoddy. I mean, I gotta say, every once in a while I'll see somebody with one of those fresh cuts, and I toy with the idea of going back to that, going back with a short hair look. But then there's always that worry, Kevin, at our age or my age, that you take it too short. What if it doesn't grow back? What if you don't want to? I think I'm okay in that area, perhaps. There's other areas where I could use some help. All right, Kev. There is another one that, and I thought this was interesting. And he had a couple different things to say about edge rushers and all that. But this was Shoddy talking about what he's looking for in pass rushers. And I think maybe at the end of this, he makes a little comment about, because the big story today, if you hadn't heard, Reuben Bain Jr., don't take him to dinner, folks. The great Miami defensive end, he's got short arms. He might not reach for that check. And don't forget also that Cassius Howell, A&M, don't take Cassius to dinner. He might, he might have a little get those alligator arms when it comes time to reach out for that check. You don't want to be out with people like that, the short arm people. But that has been coming up. What did Coach Schottenheimer have to say about what he's looking for pass rushers there?
This process, we'll see how free agency goes. That's the first line of action, if you will, as we go through this process. But again, I see it being built with some veterans and some young players. I think, I feel really, really good about Easy and what he's capable of. You actually saw him do those things that we see. Remember, these outside linebackers for us, the first thing that they're going to do is, number one, set the edge in the running game. Number two, they're going to affect the damn quarterback. Okay, and then occasionally they'll drop. The really good ones, you don't drop them very often, but you do it a little bit. And so what you want to see with guys like that, which we saw this year with Donovan, was when they drop, are they comfortable? Do they have movement skills? Do you see them? They look like a fish out of water. And all those answers for him are very, very positive.
All right. Easy is Donovan Ezaraku. It came from Boston College, a little bit undersized out there on the edge. He also said later in that interview, Kev, that Marist Liufau, who came from Notre Dame, and a player who was up and down this season, I would say, but a young player, and this past season was his second year. But they are moving Leafau. He is not going to be an off-ball linebacker anymore. They are looking at him as an outside linebacker, pass rusher type. So, I mean, and he's not going to end up as Micah Parsons all of a sudden, but I just thought I should add that. Here is what Brian Schottenheimer had to say about George Pickens.
George, from the time he got here, from the time he came in, and I say this respectfully, and I kicked his ass in shooting free throws in my office. He might not remember it that way. I knew this guy's a competitor and he loves football, so I hope so.
I hope so. I hope so was in relation to, can you get this done? Can you get this contract done? Now, he also went on to a reminder that, hey, he was there when Dak went through his contract and when CeeDee Lamb went through his contract. I will say he was not the head coach when all that was happening. The only time he's been the head coach is for Micah Parsons' contract dispute. What he was saying is he was part of the organization, and so he was around, and he knows the business of football, and he kind of knows how this could go, in that there might be a chance that Pickens stays away from some of the offseason stuff while some of the business gets worked on. He asked Micah to show up at some stuff, and he did, but of course that made it more awkward because then Micah ended up in that one-on-one with Jerry Jones, and we'll never know exactly what was said in there. Jerry tells it like Micah agreed to a contract. Micah didn't see it that way, and the agent got mad, and the whole thing obviously blew up on the Cowboys. And that's how they ended up with all these draft picks instead of the great pass rusher. Here is Schottenheimer talking about what he thinks about the new contract for Cowboys running back Javonte Williams.
A big piece of what we wanted to do because of the changes that we're dealing with, John, on defense and all the change on the staff and having some holes we need to fill. To get a piece like Javonte back that's still young and still, I think, ascending football player, his play style, his leadership. But a big part of it was he wanted to be here. And so we wanted him back. He wanted to be here. But I love everything about the guy. And he's a guy that I really feel like can help push this offense even to another level.
All right. So, and he went on to say that he'd like to get Lipke engaged a little more as well, and maybe even more in the passing game, running game, but that the Lipke, he looks forward to some things with him. One more thing I wanted to hear from Brian Schottenheimer, who was speaking earlier today at the NFL Combine, and we're appreciative. Some of this we're getting from Nick Harris, buddy of mine from the Star Telegram, and then John Machota, another friend of mine who covers the Cowboys for The Athletic. And that's where some of this footage is coming from. Let's look here at Shotty on talking about the new pass rush specialist coach that the Cowboys have brought in.
Been around Denver the last couple of years. Love the way those guys have played, and he's a local guy, which is great, right there in Dallas. And so a ton of experience, what he helped those guys do in Denver in terms of getting rushing the passer. And we started talking about BT. It was really interesting because Kenny Clark hit me up. Osa hit me up. Right. All these guys started hitting me up about, hey, we think about maybe adding BT on as a consultant, and they were thrilled. So really excited to get him in here, and he's obviously got great insight into the guys he's training.
So I don't, that's an interesting spot to be in, because I don't know totally if he's a consultant, if he could still have clients from other teams, but it sounds like Cowboys are maybe going to pay a premium and try to kind of have an exclusive with the man they call BT. And it helps that I guess he is from and lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or maybe that's his roots. But he worked with some of those pass rushers with Denver, and so I'm not saying that's the only reason, but they've been unbelievable at sacks over the last couple of seasons. And so Osa and Kenny Clark, some of those Cowboys defensive linemen, I think that's great that they were advocating and wanting this guy to come along. So that's a good one. One more, Kev. Did we have one on Shoppe talking about mixing up some of the younger and older? Okay, sorry. There was one more I thought I sent you, but I probably didn't send it to you. But excellent stuff there. I like hearing all that, and I like checking in with Coach Schottenheimer there at the combine. Now let's also look real quick at the latest to come out of the combine, because there are, and I got to revisit this again, Kevin. That the great kicker controversy. There's been some interesting reporting on this, and Brandon Aubrey, Cowboys have offered to make him the highest kicker ever in the NFL. That offer is somewhere a little bit below, I believe, $7 million. We have seen it reported by Clarence Hill Jr. that that Aubrey and his agent Todd France have asked for $10 million a year on this new contract. So, I mean, they're not, again, if this was any other position, we'd say, guys, just meet in the middle. It'll be fine. Like if we were talking about some kind of veteran O-lineman or something, it's like, guys, just do it for 8. Just do the deal. It'd be like selling a house. Just meet right there. It's fine. You're this close. Let's get the deal done. But, I just think they want, because of how great he is, to set the market. And you have people out there like Kevin and like Nick Wright who are trying to almost make arguments that, hey, it's harder to find a Brandon Aubrey than it is to find a George Pickens. Okay, I get it. He's great. He's a tremendous weapon. But this thought out there that Nick Wright put out, offer him 10 years, $75 million. Get out of here. A kicker is still a kicker. Now, he's a great one, and I would have no problem in the world with them paying him $8 or $9 million. You don't do a 10-year deal. You do a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal. Okay, here's what you do. You do a 3-year deal at $8 million, and so you get $24 million deal, and he gets $8 a year for 3 years because he's the best kicker out there, and that puts him about $2 million a year ahead of the next best kicker, which is whoever. Chiefs have Harrison Butker. I don't care. I don't care enough about kickers to even know who's the second or who's the third highest kicker out there after Butker. But give this guy his due. But I understand the Cowboys not wanting to go $10 million. All right. He's great, but he's a kicker. You don't need to get too carried away here. All right, Kev, I'm just trying to think here because we got the big interview coming up. Kev, you want to break at about 30? Is that right? Or do you need to break a little bit before that?
Probably go 25, 6, something like that.
Okay, buddy. We got about 4 more minutes. One thing, Kevin, do we have that one clip we had yesterday of DJ Lagway talking about like what it's like to come back to Baylor and what sets it apart from Florida? I thought the Florida people would find this interesting. I certainly found it interesting. Kevin, can we play that clip?
Took a moment, growing up, always going to Baylor games, and this is truly what made me want to play college football, is coming to these games and seeing the atmosphere and things like that. So for me to be able to, play in the stadium and play around these amazing fans and play with my teammates. It's gonna be fun.
What stood out to you as the biggest difference so far, having done all your rehab and worked out in Gainesville, and they got incredible facilities there? I've heard you talk already about the Baylor facilities and how much you love the stadium and all of that. Just from your interaction and the daily things that come up, what difference, what's like the biggest differences you've noticed from those two programs?
Yeah, I say, both programs have been amazing to me, in my journey. But I'd say definitely what's been the difference for me is it doesn't feel like it's a lot of people in the building. I don't know how to really explain it, but it seems like people are, like caring about you and really trying to make sure that you're doing good for you. And it's not like the cattle and herd and things like that, and making sure that, like what's working for your body and things that's helping you get better on the field. So I feel like that's kind of been the biggest difference that I've noticed.
Boy, that's good. And Dave Aranda always has that saying, and it has to do with great people make great players, and not that every kid can be the choir boy. And in fact, we're talking Jacori Greer, who's going to join us in about 5 minutes. He was talking about one of the players who came from Marshall has shown up. I think his name's Weiss. Has shown up with a lot of edgy player. I love an edgy player. And by the way, I don't care if the quarterback's a little edgy. I'd love. I mean, that's fine by me. That was interesting though, because that was a moment where he basically said the Baylor kind of treats everybody special and makes the players and the individuals. And I don't think he's just talking about, hey, because I'm probably the highest paid guy on the team. I think he thinks, hey, that's everybody. To where at Florida, he used the term cattle, almost like, running cattle through the building. So he likes the Baylor, the more personal touch that the Bears offer. I tell you, very interesting moment in that conversation. Tomorrow we might share with you where he talks. There's another area where he gets into where he talks about his favorite quarterback, and I thought that was interesting. NFL quarterback that he's tried to emulate, and we might have time to do that tomorrow. I'll tell you what we have now is we've got the opportunity to share with you a sit-down interview with Jacori Greer, Baylor defensive line coach, the new defensive line coach, and some really interesting stuff you'll hear from Coach Greer about what this defense is going to be like, what these players are like, some of these portal players. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Jacori Greer, Baylor's new D-line coach, who played in the Metroplex and is now coaching at Baylor. That is next.
Central National Bank, this is Nikki. How may I help you?
Yes, can you please transfer me to the loan department?
You want to transfer?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, you can't transfer right now.
What?
Have a good day. Yes, how may I help you?
Hi, I would like to transfer money from my C&B account to another bank.
Absolutely not. No. Have a great day.
Wait, hold.
I'm on your website and I'm trying to find the link for your payment portal.
The portal is currently unavailable. Have a great day.
We've received a few complaints.
Correct. We no longer allow any outgoing transfers, only incoming.
But the good news is, no money is leaving the bank. Like, none. Good job.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
The Matt Mosley Show, and Jacori Greer, Baylor's new defensive line coach, joining the show. And Jacori, welcome to Waco. It's not in coaching, especially with the portal, there's not a lot of time, is there, to, let's go do some house hunting and let's go get to know everybody and we'll go find a church. Like, you hit the ground, you've got to fill all these positions. It all happens in a hurry. Have you finally had a chance to settle in a little bit?
So my wife just moved here with me not too long ago. We've been in an Airbnb for the last month. And so we just signed for our house. We're going to move in March 1st. And so I'm excited to finally get some keys and get stuff put in, taken out of boxes and just get things set up. So, but it's been a whirlwind.
Okay. And for Coastal Carolina, before that, you're in Ruston. I mean, you're in that time of your life where if you're going to move up in your profession, you got to move and you got to make some moves. For you, why was Baylor the right move? Because I obviously, Power 4 program. You and Coach Spavital, I know, were together there in at Texas State. So I'm wondering how much of a role he kind of played in recommending you. How did this come together?
Yeah, this game is still, as much as it is transactional, it's still relationships, especially in the coaching world. I had worked at Abilene Christian for Kansas State's GM, former GM. He was the defensive coordinator. His name is Clint Brown. And so, Joe coming from Kansas State, I kind of had that in. Jake being here was a big play in me coming here. And then, Keenan Hall, I've known since I was a kid. And so there was just a lot of different, avenues to get me here. And my wife, this is home for us, man. Like, I'm an hour and 30 minutes from home. My wife's from Austin originally. So this was a no-brainer, getting closer back to family and home.
Okay. And you graduated from Carrollton Newman Smith. Yep. You also spent a little time at SOC, and I know Keenan, very proud of his association there with SOC. By the way, SOC, isn't that amazing? I mean, it's not like they don't have great history, but I remember SOC when I was playing at Kaufman, Texas. SOC was a great basketball school, and to see what they've done in football, that corridor right there, Jacori, from a recruiting standpoint, if you can just kind of hit that, and then you go over to Carrollton if you want to, and just kind of see how they're doing. But that's kind of an amazing deal. Are you gonna? Is that kind of going to be your area? Are you gonna? What's your recruiting area? Obviously, you know that, but yeah,
they kind of got me.
Yeah.
As of right now, I'm going to where the D linemen are. So if there's D linemen there,
Okay.
I definitely am gonna stop by for sure. And
Yeah.
we've offered some kids in that area. It's as talented as it's ever been, just like you said. I mean, right now you got 8 or 9 guys coming out of that general area that all can go play Power 4. And I mean, they're really, really talented. So everybody's kind of hunting the same kids right now. But it's ultra talented right now in that area.
Jacori, what was the reason you went into coaching? Was it somebody you end up playing for University of New Mexico, but who has been your biggest mentor in the coaching business? And I'm sure there have been several, and like you say, you even mentioned different people that you've met over your time. But when it comes to sort of your philosophy and what you think about defensive linemen, who would you say has shaped you the most?
Yeah, 2 guys really. One guy, Reuben Carter, was the first D-line coach I ever had at the collegiate level. I mean, phenomenal. He played 13 years in the NFL, coached 10 years in the NFL. Just a remarkable technician. Showed me what it means to play D-line and play different schemes. Very impactful in my life. And then the other guy was Archie McDaniel, who became my coach under Bob Davie my last 2 years at University of New Mexico. Archie's the linebacker coach at Illinois. He's not a D-line guy at all. He's a linebacker guy. So he gave me just, looking at run game and different fits and how to fit things up. He gave me a different perspective that I probably wouldn't have gotten had I not been under him. And so those 2 guys have really, even today, before I make a move, I typically call those 2 and get some input and see what they say.
Yeah, it's funny how different coaches bring up different memories, and I certainly know Reuben's name, but you mentioned Bob Davie, and I think of the Texas A&M fighting Aggies,
right.
and
Right.
Bob Davie's time there. What about Coach Clanderman? Like, how much of what he wants to do and what y'all have been talking about, how much are you? Is there, does that jive pretty well from what you've done in the past, and what is it about? I had him on recently, and he certainly seems to be someone that likes that attacking style. He loves those interior linemen, not just to be taking up space, but getting after the quarterback. How much of that kind of fits with your beliefs, and what's it been like working with him so far?
He's a phenomenal human. He's a big old joker too. I don't know if you've ever seen him or guys haven't seen him before. That dude, when he walks in the room, you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize you're that big. But he's phenomenal, really sharp. Definitely fits me to a T. I was with Jeremiah Johnson the last 2 years, and all we did was attack. That was a fundamental pulse of who we are and who I am. And so coming here, and the first thing he told me was, I want guys being aggressive. I want guys playing in the backfield. It was just a breath of fresh air for me. And so we got guys that can do that, I think, and we're kind of figuring it all out right now as we go. But I'm excited about what this defensive line is really going to look like.
Yeah, and that had to be interesting in the portal because you're making quick decisions. I think Dave Aranda really wanted to change maybe the way he evaluated some in talking to him. What was the biggest priority? And I want to obviously talk to you about some of these transfers, Xavier Hardy coming in from South Carolina, but I'm thinking about the kid from Marshall, Jamal Weiss, and then from Texas State. That doesn't shock me that you would look there for a transfer. Like, what was like the biggest thing you were looking for? Was it, hey, we want guys that have already had that production, at this, whether it be whatever level, highly productive players? What were you valuing the most when it came to some of these portal players?
That's a great question. Number one for me, there's no substitute for guys who have played. I could care less if a kid was coming from Ohio State if he only played 2 snaps. We're in the dawn of age, especially here at Baylor, where we need guys that have experience, that knows what it's like to be out there in front of 60,000 people plus and play. And so I thought we did a really good job of prioritizing guys that have played, that have been productive, but maybe haven't been in the right scheme, or maybe haven't been coached to the way we coach. And so that was the number one thing, looking for guys with some experience who has played in games, but then also has been productive, and we could be proud of being a Baylor Bear.
All right. And just from a 2-gap, 1-gap kind of, again, like you say, you want guys to get in the backfield. What are you and Joe, and y'all are kind of getting on the board and looking at this? What should we expect to see from your linemen in terms of that? Because, I mean, from what I can remember, Dave Aranda kind of there's parts of him that kind of like those space heaters, or I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to be 2-gap. It seems like Joe may value maybe more the 1-gap. What should we expect in that regard?
I think there's a place, and this is not a cop-out of an answer, I promise, but I think there's a place for both. I think in this day and age, if you're doing one thing, you're probably not going to be very good, because these offenses are just so good, especially in the Big 12. So I think at times you're going to see us probably eat some blocks, but at times you're going to see us just be really, really explosive at the point of contact. And it may look like the kid's getting reached, but he's just playing vertical. And so with doing that, I think it gives us a really good complement to who we are defensively.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do some politics later in your career, you can kind of, I like that.
I can't tell
now,
you everything, man.
I know. Now but I got to continue to investigate here, because,
right.
And Joe was pretty open about, like, he's done some 3-4, he did some 4-3 at Kansas State. I mean, and again, the big buzzword now, even in the NFL, multiple. We're going to be multiple. They don't like to get. Back in the day, Bill Parcells comes to Dallas. Hey, guys, it's time to start drafting. Get these little linebackers out of here. Get these little mighty mites out of here, and let's get the 3-4 going. What do you, as you kind of think about your base defense, though, 3-down or 4-down looks? What do you feel like is going to be the base as y'all kind of start to really think about how you set this thing up?
Yeah, I think I'm a fan. As first off, as a defensive line coach, I want as many defensive linemen on the field as possible at all, right? So selfishly, I would love that we, if we could do more 4-down, I think that fits who we are. But again, like, being 4-down doesn't mean you have being 4-down doesn't mean when we get to our 3-down stuff that we're not in a 4-down defense. Like, we don't have 4D linemen on the field. And so that's what I mean by multiple. Being able to go in and out of different things without having to sub, I think is really, really big. And we have the ability to do that.
All right. And then people are dying to know about some of these transfers. And by the way, anything on Wheeler? Is there any? I mean, I feel like my head's spinning because there's so many court cases out there, and this guy being eligible and all. What's the? You get to be around him on a daily basis, and what's going on with him?
He is taking this thing like a champ. I mean, just being where he's supposed to be, doing the things. He's pushing our room already. We're acting as if he's here with us. We haven't really heard. I know there's some ruling stuff that's supposed to be coming down the line in a couple weeks. Hopefully we get some information before spring break is the hope. And so we're just kind of counting our chickens that he's going to be with us.
Okay. He obviously coming off a national championship. I don't know if he's flashing the ring around or if you've gotten to peek at that, but I mean, he started 6 times, was a huge part of their rotation. And, how do you, if you get to use him, and it seems like he would be a great anchor for you, what would his role be? I mean, I like what you're saying. You like guys that are probably have some versatility. When he was at his best in that Indiana defense, and my gosh, it was a good one. What was he doing?
Yeah, I think he is the prototypical vertical knockback nose guard, and not just playing just a 0, but being able to play a 1 technique, being able to play a G, being able to play a 2 technique. he really has a good foundation of being able to do a lot of different things, but physicality and going vertical is his strength, by like not even close. Movement stuff, yeah, he's got that too. But if you ask that dude to go vertical, he can be a problem.
Do you like showing players like that? Any of the NFL guys, obviously a lot of them want to play at the next level. Do you do that with guys and go, here's a guy I really like for the Seahawks, just to use the Super Bowl champions, or how often do you do that? Or do you more show them maybe some of your college players, or how some of your guys have done it in the past?
Yeah, you have to. I think nowadays that's the end goal for a lot of these guys. It doesn't seem like it all the time, but that's still the end goal. So I do spend a lot of time of studying, making cut-ups of different guys that remind me of them and their play style. But the other thing I do is I watch their tape. Like, we pick apart their tape. Wheeler, all games he played in from Indiana, we sat down and we watched and we went through it and we talked about the different techniques that he was asked to play, but then also how I can help him within those techniques and grow here for what we want to do here at Baylor. And so I think that's what resonates with a lot of these recruits that we've been able to land is, okay, you have a good foundation of who you are, but this is how I can help you become what we all want you to be.
Is there any NFL player that seems to show up in your cut-ups more than any other?
I love Milton's game, man. Williams.
I was just about to bring him up because I thought that's so funny you said him, because I love his game,
man. He was at La Tech, and he, not when I was there, but I got to meet him before. He's a great human, but his game is power, it's speed, it's vertical. He doesn't spend a lot of time at the line of scrimmage, and so that's what we want to be at the end of the day, is that.
I just think of that was a huge free agent move for them. And, you had to kind of project it, right? I mean, it's not like he wasn't in the Eagles rotation, but he wasn't like a true, okay, this guy's a lockdown starter. And yet they go, listen, we think this is what this guy is.
Right.
And then they're playing in the Super Bowl. And,
right.
and again, that a lot of times you say the teams that spend the most don't always win the most. But I would say playing in the Super Bowl, that team spent a huge amount in free agency, right?
Right.
So it's okay to get out there and spend a little bit. Okay, people are dying to know Jacori Greer with us on the Matt Mosley Show, his first, I hope, of several appearances. But now this Marshall transfer, Jamal Weiss, I think, 6'4", 305 pounds. Now, Baylor's had the guy that came in from LSU a few years ago. They've had those enormous Apu, I guess was his name, like a monster guy. It doesn't seem like you have those guys. You have, again, now we're at a point where we're acting like 305-pound guys aren't big, right?
Yeah.
We've reached that point, which is really kind of crazy. But what does Weiss bring, and what stood out about him?
He's edgy. He's not your typical just humble, wonderful D-line. Like, he's not that. Like, he's a great kid, and he's mature. He's got 2 children. He takes care of his children. He's a different type of edge for our room. Like, if he doesn't like something, he's going to say it. And I can appreciate that. I think in a defensive line room, and really in every room, you need a couple guys that don't always just fit the bill and go with the flow. I don't think you can have a ton of them, but I do think you need a couple of those guys, and he's that for us. But I've been proud of him, classroom-wise, handling his business. He's trying, and so we got to keep our foot on him. But I'm glad he's here.
Did people call you edgy when you were at New Mexico? Did you have some edge to you?
Probably. I was a little bit of a jerk, I didn't put up with very much and thought I knew it all. And so, yeah, it's interesting now coaching. I'm like, gosh, I'm glad I don't have to coach me. So,
yeah, well, you come across as very nice, but I know how you coaches are. I bet when it comes time to hold a guy accountable, you don't mind doing that. Xavier Hardy comes in from South Carolina. Now that's I would say he may have the highest ceiling of a lot of these guys, but maybe that's more of a projection. Whereas the Texas State player Washington, certainly you can base that on some production. Those two players, what stands out to you?
Man, when Zay walks in the room, he looks like an SEC football player. Like, he is a good-looking joker. He's actually going to play defensive end for Coach Hall. But shows up, works his butt off, trying to get in shape. We're battling that right now. But, man, I'm just telling you, he is fun to watch. Smile, great energy. He's growing. And so I'm excited about his progress, and every day he continues just to get a little bit better. And so that's what you want right now. Cam Washington from Texas State, I recruited to Texas State. And so he came to Texas State, and then I ended up leaving. And so it was crazy how it happened, but to have him here, I've been really proud of him as well. He's matured. He's 296 pounds, 97 pounds, quick twitched. That's what I liked about him. He gave us something that, the bigger guys didn't necessarily give us, is just his explosion and his quick twitch and how he plays. I think he would have a chance as well. So right now it's just getting all these guys comfortable with what we do, getting them in shape, getting them faster, getting them stronger, and making them go compete. And so that's our battle cry right now, is just trying to get them right and get them ready to go.
Do you have in your mind like a goal that you would even discuss with your interior lineman, your defensive lineman, on like sacks? I just was looking at whether it be Texas State or even at Louisiana Tech. When you got there, you and your defensive coordinator, y'all changed that thing in a hurry, and y'all took a huge step up. Do you find yourself like actually coming up with numbers? There was a guy at Baylor that used to say take 3, which was about takeaways. He wanted 3 takeaways a game. Do you have like in mind, like how many sacks you want your guys to have, or do you not really think in those terms?
We talk about it as we get closer to the season. Right now, we talk more about what it takes to get the sack. Like what we're developing right now, what their pass rush move looks like. What the counter move off their pass rush is, right? And so we're spending more time right now of more focusing inward, just because we have to. We have so many new bodies. Outside of Tez, there's not a guy that's really played here. Like a couple, Braylon Jackson's played a few, but there hasn't been a bunch of guys in our room right now that has played. And so we're really breaking this thing down layer by layer and really trying to drive home the technique aspect so we can get to those sacks.
Is Tez embraced kind of being the vet? I mean, is he, that's an interesting place to be suddenly. So many guys leave, then you get the huge amount of, so those few holdovers, they take on a more important role, don't they?
Yeah, we're building him to that. Like he's, Tez is a very quiet, very humble, very meek, but he's so, you look at him, you're like, gosh, you just look like a Greek god almost. Like you are a really good looking, good dude. I'm just breaking him out of that shell. And so he knows my expectations, and he's going to have to continue to work through that. But here at Baylor, man, nothing's given. Every single day these guys are fighting to earn everything. And so that is something that we're big on here. That is Coach Clanderman. That is Coach Aranda. We're not giving them anything. Everything here is going to be earned. And it's wide open. It's as wide open as it's ever been.
Man, that was really something, like what y'all did at La Tech, looking at those numbers and everything. And so that'll be fun. By the way, the Thetas on the Baylor campus, when I was there, when I got there, used to do something. I don't know if you could even do this anymore, but like they'd have a Greek god contest. And thank goodness, I don't think they let the football players participate, but this will shock you, Jacori. I did not ever win that, nor did I get nominated. But anyway, you made me think about it. They used to have the Thetas would have the Greek god. Guys would be up there, flexing the whole thing. Well, have you have you gotten around town a little bit? Do you have a favorite place to eat yet, or are you still kind of discovering things?
Oh man, my wife, man, I work long days, and then as soon as I get home, my wife's got us a reservation somewhere, and so I'm taking advantage of it right now. I'm like, hey, when spring ball starts now, we're gonna have to calm down a little bit. But I've been everywhere. We went to the Brasserie. Yesterday was my birthday, and so we went to the Butcher Cellar. We've been to, we've been all over the place. The Red Heron. I mean, you name it, we've probably been there in Waco. And so it's an awesome community, and everybody's really, really nice. And so I'm just excited to be here.
All right. Well, I'll send you a few more of my, like, over there on Elm Street, and you got to go on down Elm Street, but some barbecue spots that I have that are not on the tour, right?
Okay.
Kind of behind the scenes, but we're talking Tony DeMaria's and Jasper's and all the ones. There are a lot of great ones, but I've just got some things that that not everybody knows about. So
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'll share some of those with you, but it's where they serve it on the old wax paper.
There you go.
The only drink they offer is Big Red, and so anyway, those were some of the places that I love. And the barbecue sauce is actually like it's like they call it gravy, but it's that thin gravy. Anyway, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. Jacori, I appreciate this, and man, excited. This is going to be an interesting year because Baylor's not done one of these. Like we're almost, bring in 30 or 35, change the roster over this much. The coaching staff has changed, somewhat. But I think that's got to be a fun part of the challenge for you, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, 100%. You take every day as it comes, and we tell our players it costs what it costs, right? Like you've never seen a Ferrari commercial because they didn't make them, right? When you show up, there's a certain cost, and you have to decide if you want to pay that cost to be great. And so right now, everything is working to where they're doing it. But we know there's going to be more challenges come, and we're going to face them head on.
Yeah, although you now coach in an era where one of your players may pull up in a Ferrari or
that's right. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that.
One of your players who I'm going to talk to later today, I think, had a Lamborghini deal in Orlando. So anyway, some very, they didn't quite have that in New Mexico, did they?
No, man, please.
Yeah.
You barely got a scooter.
Moped or something like that.
No doubt.
But anyway, all right, Jacori, we'll look forward to meeting you in person. Thanks for doing this, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, if I'm doing my math right, you're still in your 30s, so still extremely young.
Oh, yeah.
But you do kind of have a veteran, with the mustache and the goatee. You kind of have an old soul, look about you. So, but anyway, happy birthday, and look forward to visiting with you in person.
Thanks, Matt.
You bet. There he goes, Jacori Greer, joining the Matt Mosley Show, Baylor's new defensive line coach. And man, that was fun. And he's going to bring a lot of energy. And honestly, some of the players they brought in, I think are pretty exciting. And they're going to get after the quarterback. They need to a lot more than last year with the lack of sacks this past year. That was a big problem. And it sounds like they're going to play an attacking style that should be exciting to watch. That is the Matt Mosley Show here on Rogue Media Network. We will see you on Friday.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud. Here's a tip. Don't buy from social media ads unless the ad is from a verified company. When you click those ads, you open yourself up to fraud. If it seems too good to be true, it almost always is. This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.